Okay, so it's Felicity from Get Your Rock Out here talking to the amazing Neil Murray. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing. No, I'm fine. I'm in the beautiful, sunny, scenic Austria, launching the Schubert in Rock project, which is an album, and it'll be a concert at the beginning of December here in Innsbruck, and it's all pretty exciting.
I mean, I think everything today has shown that there's some fantastic interest in it. We had a great press conference. We are at possibly the most beautiful hotel in all the world, surrounded by mountains and sun and fish. And it just, yeah.
He's not here, is he?
Yeah, hiding in a corner somewhere, taking pictures of us, you know.
Difficult to hide somebody that big.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of initial reactions and the feedback that you've had from people, you know, today and over the past few days. Have people been really positive about everything?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's still a fairly unknown quantity. Yeah. I mean, almost to me as much as anybody else, simply because of the way it's been put together. You know, some of the guys like myself have done recordings for the album remotely, so I haven't been here to the studio where a lot of the singers have come, and I would have preferred to do that, but my day job in We Will Rock You makes it quite difficult for me to take time off without charging excessively for it, because I have to pay somebody else to stand in for me and all that kind of thing. But I wouldn't say musically it's anything incredibly new and different. It's very much classic heavy rock, if you like. It's more to do with the, you know, the names that are involved in the project, and also the way that it's been done, because certainly all the promotional side of it and the organizational side of it has been really 100% wonderful, much better than certain things that you get involved with, which are very kind of cheap and cheerful productions. So that's been great, and the people have been, you know, a great company, and just, you know, made everything so easy. So we'll see. It would be nice to get together and actually play together as a band, which won't happen until just before the show. But let's assume that it all goes swimmingly well. Then maybe next year there'd be more Schubert in rock. Who knows? We shall see.
And how did you get involved with it in the first place? What kind of happened? Because am I right in thinking that you actually only met Klaus Schubert today?
Well, it's kind of, you know, connections and friends of friends, and, you know, people almost putting your name forward for something. You know, obviously I've played with lots of different people, though I'm not necessarily the right bass player for every single kind of even just rock project. You know, I have my particular style, and I wouldn't necessarily put myself forward for every single album going, no way. But I think because of knowing some of the people behind the project, rather than Klaus himself, you know, my name and I guess people like Dougie White and Tony Martin, we're people that they've known from the past, and maybe there hasn't been much communication or connection in the last 15, 20 years, but for a project like this, when you want to get the people, or the, you know, your ideal lineup, as it were, you know, they probably couldn't get Billy Sheehan, so they asked me. No, I'm happy to be involved, and if it had just been for one track, that would be fine. They asked me to do, certainly at the moment I'm on 5 tracks, and there may be more, but you know, I'm kind of a hired hand for this, like I am for lots of other things. For example, next year at Sweden Rock, I'm playing with Phenomena, which is going back to the mid-'80s for me as well. And that's another project which is something that will take up, let's say, a week of my time, and will be great to do, and I'll focus on that for that period, and then it's on to something else, or back to We Will Rock You most likely, and you know, the touring and recording with Snake Charmer, etc., etc. It's kind of juggling all these different things, and even if they're not all absolutely the perfect ideal thing you want to do, because nothing can be, then being able to do different things kind of balances out. You know, some situation might be really travelling in the back of a crummy transit van or something and playing in a sticky floored pub, and then the next thing might be much more high class and, you know, much nicer hotel and, you know, being interviewed by you. So it goes from one extreme to the other.
Very kind. I mean, what would be your ideally perfect thing?
Well, I don't know if it exists. I mean, without getting too kind of philosophical about it, excuse me, the really ideal perfect time is when you're playing and you happen to think of something or you react to something like instantly that somebody else is doing, and you're almost kind of spontaneously composing, even for just a few seconds or something. Or the sound is fantastic, or everything comes together, maybe even just for a short period in one gig, it could be, and that's what you live for. It's quite handy if the rest of the time, let's say 23, 22 hours of the day, that you're not, you know, either bored out of your mind or tired, you know, exhausted or whatever it might be. So it does help if you're with nice people, intelligent people, friendly people, gorgeous women, blah, 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 you know. These days, I try and sort of find ways of making most situations work. And if that means, I don't know, let's say wearing earplugs on stage because everything's absolutely deafening, or driving myself to a gig rather than, I don't know, having to catch the bus. I'm not thinking of very good examples here, but you know, I've been around long enough to know what's likely to go wrong in the studio or gigging or whatever. So you try and be prepared and think ahead, and it does mean that you don't get that many surprises, but having done it for so long, it's quite difficult for anything to be new and different anyway, you know.
And how do you choose what projects you're going to get involved with? Because I'm guessing you get offers from all over the place. I mean, how do you decide, you know what, yes, I think this is something for me?
Well, mostly I say yes to just about everything. I mean, I don't get asked to do so many things that I'm having to, say, turn things down that much. Or, you know, I'm not necessarily going to be asked to do as much as you probably think I am. Simply because I'm kind of off the radar to some extent. Having been in We Will Rock You for 11 years, I'm not out there supposedly ligging like I had the reputation of doing in the 80s, but being seen at gigs and hanging around with other musicians and being, oh yeah, Neil Murray, oh yeah, let's go, why don't you come and play on our album? I don't get the chance to do that so much anymore. So what tends to happen is that most of the work I get is through previous connections, stuff I've worked with before, people I've worked with before, and very occasionally it becomes something right out of the blue, and that's where something like Facebook would come in, where, you know, oh, I've admired you for years, and then, you know, I'm doing my own album, can you play bass on such and such a track? And I'm going, oh yeah, where are you, in Cambridge? Oh no, I'm in LA. You know, so because of the web and the internet, I can receive tracks like I did for Schubert in Rock, put the bass part down for that, send them back the bass part, they mix it in. It's not my ideal way of working, to be honest. So I have to be the engineer and I have to be the producer saying, is that right? Or, oh, I wonder if this is what they want. Or, you know, it's not perfect situation, but economically people aren't going to fly you around the world to do things these days, which they might have done when budgets were much more lavish.
And I mean, you know, we are here in Austria now. This project does have a lot of support behind it. I'm guessing that you must be really quite excited about the album release after kind of hearing the tracks today.
Yeah, I need to. I mean, it's not finished totally yet, but certainly. I mean, as far as it's Klaus Schubert's project. You know, he's in control, really. And yes, I'm looking forward to the gig and the album coming out and everything else. But I have to keep a sense of proportion that it's a certain part of my my year is focused on this, and you know, whatever I'm doing, I try and give as close to 100% as I can, and put on different hats for whatever I'm doing. I mean, I've got lots of different bass guitars, for example, because the sound I might need for this might be completely different for what I need for playing Queen songs or for playing with Snake Charmer, etc., etc. So I do have, to some extent, my own style, but even within that, I have to be quite flexible and, you know, well, as much as anything to satisfy me. If I'm not enjoying or feeling that what I'm doing is suitable, not just the notes I'm playing, but the sound that then I'm going to be, I'm criticizing it, then possibly the people I'm working for are going to be even more so. And you're sometimes thinking, oh, this is great, and actually they're thinking, oh, no, it's crap. Or vice versa. You know, I might be too self-critical, and then they're going, wow, this is amazing. So it's really hard to be totally objective. And, you know, for every person who might think, oh, he's a rock legend, somebody else is thinking, who's that grey-haired old git on stage? You know, I mean, I did a kind of masterclass type thing at the London Bass Guitar Show about 18 months ago, and I was playing along with Whitesnake tracks like Still of the Night and stuff like that. And somebody told me afterwards that some young kid said, oh, I thought the bass player in Whitesnake was a young guy with, you know, really long dark hair, and, you know, I'm going, yes, I used to be like that. So you can't please everybody.
No, you can't. The next kind of 6 months or so, I mean, apart from the Schubert and rock stuff, what else have you got going on?
Well, I continually, but not as often as I would like, doing concerts and festivals with Snake Charmer. And our album has done really well and got great reviews and stuff, and I really enjoy that, but it's pretty hard getting gigs for what's essentially a new band, even with the people that are in the lineup. You know, we have 7 or 8 shows a week at We Will Rock You, which I can do all of them or none of them, depending on what I choose to do or what else I'm up to. So anytime I'm not doing something else, that's where I am. That's my day job. I do have the occasional holiday. There's a thing associated with Queen called Freddie for a Day, which I think I'm involved with this year for the first time, which is kind of people celebrating Freddie Mercury at a kind of posh charity event, and all sorts of big name people from all kinds of music will be doing that. So I'll be in the house band for that. oh, just whatever comes along, really. You know, whatever you've got, send it my way.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for having a chat to me today. It has been an absolute pleasure. I think I should let you go to enjoy the sunshine and the mountains and the fish and the birds. But thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll see you in a few months' time, if not before.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you
Cheers.
so much.